Hello, my name is Samantha, and I live in El Salvador, Central America. I'm glad the Lord put it in your heart to join me today. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder type 2, I was helpless and hopeless until I found the Lord's fresh hope for mental health. Or should I say, the Lord's fresh hope found me. Living in El Salvador, being a youth pastor's wife, and having a mental health diagnosis was no easy coming. It was only by an act of God's grace that I run into fresh hope, and happening to speak English as well as my first language, which is Spanish, I was able to enjoy the fresh hope principles of recovery, the online support group, and all of the materials. They were literally a lifesaver. Before coming to Fresh Hope, I was already on medication. I had improved some, but I still had like this label on my forehead that said, I am bipolar disorder. I had lost all my confidence. I had this gloom over me, this emotional pain all the time. And I thought the best of my life was over. I didn't know what to expect. After coming to Fresh Hope, I was able to take that label off my forehead. I learned that I'm a child of God, not my diagnosis. I got my confidence back, my hope, my will to live, my joy, and I had more purpose than ever before. When I experienced the difference that Fresh Hope made in my life, my eyes started to open up to see the world around me. Latin America, Chile, Argentina, Mexico, my country, El Salvador, and even Spain, Spanish-speaking countries. What had happened if I hadn't known how to speak English? There were no faith-based mental health support groups in my native language. Where would I have been? Let me tell you some terrifying figures here from Latin America and Spain. There are 35.3 million people, according to the World Health Organization, that suffer depressive disorders in Spain and Latin America. That is depressive disorders alone, not to mention other mental health issues. It's estimated that 1 out of every 5 people suffer from serious mental health issues in Latin America. And even more shocking is the fact that most of these individuals receive no treatment. The average for people committing suicide around the world is 1 person every 40 seconds. In El Salvador, my country, back in 2016, we were the 3rd country with highest suicide rates. Let me tell you a bit more about my country. It only dedicates 1.1 of its budget to mental health care. In spite of, the World Health Organization recommends a minimum of 5%. This same trend repeats itself all over Latin America. We are countries that are suffering a lot from poverty. And on top of that, hear this. Back in 2016, El Salvador lost 2.48% of its gross domestic product due to untreated mental illness. What does this number mean? To put it in a more concrete way, that is the equivalent to building 13 hospitals, like the Salvadorian National Hospital we have. In the public sector, listen to this, there are only 66 mental health professionals. That is for 7 million people. That's our population. It's appalling. It's sad. Between 2016 and 2019, 1 person per day committed suicide in El Salvador. That is shocking, considering El Salvador is so small It would fit 467 times in the US. More surprising than the numbers are the stories of the people behind the numbers. Take, for example, the story of Milagros, whose daughter lost a lifelong struggle with schizophrenia and decided to end her life about 8 months ago, 5 minutes away from my home in San Salvador. Or let me tell you a little bit about Jose. Jose never felt right. He sought for help. They prayed for him to be delivered from demons. And I don't blame them. They had good intentions. They just didn't know how to help. They prayed for him like that many times, and he found no relief, no improvement. In the end, he decided to take his own life. After this happened, her mother started to attend a Fresh Hope support group in Spanish because she fell into a depressive episode because of what had happened. Once she started learning about mental health issues, she realized that most likely her son had been a case of an undiagnosed mental health disorder. Sadly, we weren't there to help on time. But let's not speak only about those cases that end in suicide. How about the many millions that live but without any hope? I'm a member of a community on Facebook that's called Ansiedad, that's anxiety. And there you can read the posts from people all over Latin America. Desperate posts, asking, crying out for help. 24/7. It's overwhelming. I was asked what I thought were the biggest needs in Latin America for mental health. And let me tell you, I see the two obstacles, two of the main ones. We have many. We have poverty, we have violence. But two of them, the obstacles I want to focus on are these. One of them is the huge stigma and cultural barriers to speaking openly and seeking for help for mental health issues, more so within the church. Attending physical illness has been normalized, but to go to a psychiatrist or therapist in Latin America is considered immediately thought of as being crazy. We need to equip the church, pastors, and leaders, and missionaries to be able to recognize and to be able to respond to mental health issues. That's what we need to do. That's one of the things we need to do. The second obstacle I see, and from that obstacle flows a need of something we need to do, is that there are no faith-based mental health support groups in Spanish out there. That is, well, until Fresh Hope came along. But we've only just started to offer Fresh Hope support groups in Spanish, and we need your support. So how can the church do something about this? To begin with, it's the Lord's command to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. So we need to come alongside of those who are mourning and mourn with them. Historically, we know it has been proven by the Institute of Mental Health that the number one place that people go to when looking for help with mental illness is the church. So we must be prepared. This trend is also true for Latin America. One of the top universities in my country confirmed this trend just a couple of months ago in a local newspaper, saying people are turning to the church for help. Moreover, the church has many things to offer that simply do not exist in the traditional mental health care system. This is something that Dr. Matthew Stanford speaks about, and I think they apply to the Latin American situation and to why the church in Latin America must get involved in the mental health care. What are these things that the church has to offer? Well, let me mention them quickly. First of all, the church has hope that transcends all circumstances. We know that hope for a Christian is not a feeling, but a person. It's Jesus Christ. He never changes. He transcends all circumstances. So no matter if your symptoms improve or not, no matter what your feelings are, you can have hope because of what Jesus Christ did for you and me. Fresh Hope's fourth tenet speaks about this. And this hope is something the church will have to offer and to bring to people's lives. Secondly, the church has a holistic perspective of the person. We don't just focus on the body, but we know that people have a mind, a spirit, and emotions, relationships. We need to intervene at all these levels. And if we just throw medication at somebody, we would only be attending to the physical side of things. If we only tell him or her to go pray more, we would only be focusing on the spiritual side or level of things. But who better than the church to recognize that a person has all these levels, mind, body, spirit, and relationships, and to teach them to work at all these levels in order to bring relief to the physical as well as the spiritual suffering. Reveal Christ and restore their lives. Thirdly, there's the issue of accessibility. There's a lot of stigma in Latin America around saying, I will go to a psychiatrist. It's almost like the word cannot be mentioned. But most people will be open to going to their pastors for advice or for help. So the church is accessible. Also, there's no cost in going to church for help. While going to a private psychiatrist in my country, like we say in Spanish, it will cost you literally an eye of your face. That's the saying we have in Spanish. It's so expensive. And like I mentioned before, going to a public sector, well, there are only 66 professionals for a 7 million people population, but the church is free. You can go to and ask for help there. So it's accessible. Plus, there are many, many churches in Latin America. We could almost say there's one in every corner. So it's accessible. And lastly, the church offers a community of support. This is a very important a very important component in today's mental health. The church has been doing community for 2,000 years. God himself established it. It's called the church. So why is it important for the church to do something about it? Well, we've been called to mourn with those who mourn. People are coming to us, so we must be prepared. And plus, we have things to offer that the mental health care system does not have. We have hope beyond all circumstances, a holistic perspective of the person, accessibility, and a community of support. Now, how can you be a part of this? How can you make a difference for Latin America? Right there, where you are. What can you do? Let me just give you 3 ideas. First of all, you can pray. You can pray that the Spanish-speaking world can find its hope in Christ. You could even become a member of a community on Facebook that is called Prayer for the Fresh Hope in Spanish Project. Here, news and specific prayer requests are continually posted. You can email me at samantha@freshhope.us and tell me you want to be a part of this group, and I'll help you join it. My email address is on the PDF for this talk. Secondly, you can connect us to any Spanish speakers you know who might be suffering from mental health issues. If you connect them to us, and there's a link on your PDF that you can share with them to get them to connect to us, we can help them join one of the online support groups We can refer them to Fresh Hope's book, which is now in Spanish. And I dare say it's one of the best faith-based mental health resources out there in Spanish. We can do many things to support them, but you need to help connect us to them or them to us. And thirdly, you can connect us with any Spanish-speaking leaders and pastors you may know that may be interested in starting mental health ministries in their communities. We can come alongside of them and support them in this noble mission. We can equip them, we can support them. So please connect us to any Spanish-speaking leaders or pastors or missionaries you might know. What can I say? I'm really grateful for your attention and your time. It is not by chance that you have watched this. This is a calling. This is a cry for help from Latin America. And the question is, will you answer? For questions or comments, please contact me at samantha@freshhope.us. Thank you so much for watching, and many blessings.